Hi everyone, my name is Sam Stewart and I'd like to read to you from my book called Fireblood, which is written about a boy called Finn, who's 12, and a girl called Tula, his sister, who is 9 years old. And this is a fantasy story, although it's pretty much set in the real world. I'm going to read to you from the prologue, so there are no spoilers. Augustus Flint stood listening to the silence of the rock and the glass and the steel all around him. He was a tall man, wiry, with sinewy muscle, and every bit of him hummed with the strength that was almost visible, even though he stood as still as a strange stone that lay on the kitchen counter. "I don't want to leave them," he whispered, picking up an old and battered canvas rucksack from the floor. His words echoed in the enormous space of the open-plan living area, though he was trying to be very quiet. It seemed to him that the word leave bounced back over and over from the huge vaulted ceiling, the enormous facets of glass that looked out onto the dark gorge below, and the steel girders that connected the walls around him. "You shouldn't be leaving them," replied the stone. It was an uneven oval of frosted crystal that had quite lost its shine, about 30 centimetres long and half that in width. It looked like a huge lump of very, very old sea glass, but you'd never say that to her. She'd be furious with that kind of observation, though, frankly, furious seemed to be her usual state of mind. "Definitely should not be leaving them," she added. "Do something else instead." "Something else?" Augustus heaved a heavy sigh, his breath catching in his throat. How are you?" His voice cracked. He cleared his throat and swiped a hand across his forehead, then quickly down across his eyes. With the same hand, he pulled hard on his moustache and beard, considering what to say next. "How am I never helpful?" prompted the stone. Huffing a mirthless laugh, Augustus replied, "I don't feel good about this mission. Something's off. Even though this place," he gestured to their home carved into the cliff face, "is protected from within and without, and even though I've taught them the hidden entrances and exits and to be quick and strong and clever, I worry for Finn and Tula. They've only ever been out with me at night, and very rarely then." "The last time you felt something was off," said the stone, her voice hard, almost strident, "your wife, the mother of those 2 children, was killed in cold blood." Before Augustus could reply, with the breath he'd sucked deep into his chest, his eyes wide with hurt and shock, she added, "Trust your instincts, you stupid, stupid man! Why is it that the grown-ups of this world always make such terrible mistakes?" "It's different this time," muttered Augustus, leaning towards the stone, his fists clenched at his sides. "I have more gifts from mythic and frail-skinned creatures now. I can speak any language, can stop my own blood, control the portals. If I don't go, we're looking at catastrophic consequences. This planet will die." "It will not die. It will sleep for an age, then recover again, as it has done before. Forget the volcano, Augustus. Think of your children." "My children are part of the planet that will die if I don't leave now and complete the task." He put the bag on the kitchen counter and reached for the stone. "Leave me here," blurted the stone. Then, "No!" she shrieked when he withdrew his hand. "Take me with you." He frowned, and she cried out again, "No! Leave me here." Augustus sighed. "Milady," he said, hesitant, "you always come with me. What if I need answers?" "The children will need answers," said the stone, and her voice was softer now. "Especially if you don't come back." "What? There's no—" "I will need to tell them, Augustus." "Milady, I'll need to tell them everything you've kept from them, because if you don't get this to work, it'll be up to them to save the world, and they won't have the first clue how." That's the end of the prologue. And the next chapter, chapter 1, starts with Finn and Tula outside for the first time on their own, all by themselves, and they're about to discover something they never knew they had: the power of dragons.